Hi everyone. So we have covered two parts of CSS Wrapped 2025 in earlier two videos which you can watch, and in this video we are going to cover third part. So we have covered customizable components, we have covered next gen interactions. In this part we are going to go ahead with the optimized ergonomics. So let's get to that directly. So these modules aren't just plug and play, they are true chameleon, allowing users to redefine their interface functionality aesthetic down to the atomic level. So let's cover the first one, which is advanced attribute or attr function, typed value for attribute beyond simple strings. So this is supported in Chromium again, and it is not yet supported in Mozilla or Safari. The CSS attribute function, which lets you use the value of HTML attribute within your CSS, has been powered up. Okay, previously attribute could only be used within the content property of a pseudo element and could only return values as a CSS string. The updated attribute function expands its capability, allowing attribute to be used with any CSS property, including custom properties. It can now also parse attribute values into various data types beyond just strings like colors, string, length, and custom identifier. With the new attribute, you can set an element's color property based on data color attribute, parsing it as a color type with the fallback. So for an example, if this is a div where there is a color with attribute, you can parse data color of the type color, and you can fallback it to red. To solve a common UI challenge, you can dynamically set the view transition name for multiple element using their id attribute passed as a custom identifier. This avoids repetitive CSS rules for each element. So view transition name, so card 1 2 3. So from here you can say type custom event, let's say, and id is there, id type custom event. So this data color and type is custom type was color, and this is custom identifier. Finally, this demo shows how to use the attribute function in multiple ways. First, use the data rating to determine a percent field to visually fill the star mask and represent the rating. Then use the same data attribute in the content property to insert the value in pseudo element. So this is the star rating where there is a percentage field which is calculated based on data rating which is of the type number. So we are reading the data rating property, which should be converted to a number, and then it should be multiplied with 20%, let's say, and hard breakpoint gradient background, so linear gradient to right, gold where percentage fill, and transparent where percentage fill. Okay, so and after there is a content attribute data rating, you can parse data rating to this as well. Okay, so I guess these both are governed from this. So let's check the example. So let's try the example. We will close this. Okay. So let's try. So there is no JavaScript in this, so we'll close the JavaScript, and then let's first review the CSS part. So on CSS level, we have a div which has a class star rating, and it has a data rating of 4.5, data rating 3, 4.7, and 2.3, and these are all star rating, and there is a figure in it which is unknown to us. There is no figure as such attached directly. So let's get to CSS part. So in CSS we are deciding percent fill, which is calculated, and here if we say this is a type number, and it's coming from data rating, which should be converted to type number, and this is accessed through attr, and it should be multiplied with 20% to calculate this, and then display flex, align item center, and gap should be 1 rem, and figure would be 5.6 em wide and 1 em of the height. Background should be linear gradient to the right. Gold where percentage fill, so we are going to fill that much percentage, and transparent, and then where percent fill. So I guess this is used to create this gradient fill, look and feel. And mask image, this is interesting. There is an image which is present there, and mask repeat space, and after the content this attribute is passed to show this. And if we hide this and let's say we replace it with this values would be gone. Yeah, so it's like this, and font weighted this, and these are the support note and other features, and we can inspect here to see exactly the image that is there. So this is the image, and there is a image so if you see this, it's directly this, and there is a mask image to it, right, which is cut. So this was basically attribute function which we can use to parse any data property, and it can be used on any element now onwards. Next is ToggleEvent.source. Find out which element was responsible for toggling the target. So if the targets were toggled, which was responsible for this? So this is supported in Mozilla as well. That's interesting. So this is getting supported. So when a popover, dialog or details element gets toggled, it can be interesting to know which element was responsible for toggling it. For example, knowing if the user pressed the accept cookie or reject cookie button to dismiss a cookie banner is a very important detail, right? The source attribute of the toggle event lets you know exactly that, as it contains the element which triggered the event to be fired if applicable. Based on that source you can take different actions. So if you have a cookie banner on your site which is of the popover auto, and would you like a cookie, and there is a buttons to button ID of yes and no. Command for is for cookie banner, and command is hide popover in both the cases, right? So button yes, button no, we have picked that up, and then cookie banner which we have picked whole, and then cookie banner we click on the toggle, and whenever toggle event is fired for this cookie banner which is a popover, we can see event.source, which is button yes, give the user a cookie. If event.source was a button no, then so this is again interesting. You can explicitly know which button was responsible, or whatever field was responsible for toggling the state of popover, details or dialog or any component. So this is interesting as well. Next feature is text box features, flawless center text vertically. This is interesting. This problem statement has been a very challenging problem statement for front-end developer for a very long time, until Flexbox came up, after which they were able to solve this. A font's content box is defined by internal metrics, specifically the ascent and descent that reserve space for ascent and hanging character. So this is ascent line, this is the descent line, and this is the mid text that is there. It can be in between this, right? Because the visual boundaries of the Latin text are the cap height and the alphabetic baseline, rather than the ascent and descent, text will appear typically off center even when it's mathematically centered within a container. So let's say this is the bottom and this is the piece, and then you have this top, and then there is cap height as well. So even if it's center text, it does not feel like center, right? Baseline is here, cap height is here and ascender line is here and descender line is here. So visual boundaries of Latin text are the cap height. This is the visual line, not this. The text box property make finer control of vertical alignment of text possible, letting you flawlessly center text vertically. The text box trim property specifies the sides to trim above or below or both. The text box edge property specifies the matrix to use for text box trim effect. When trimming both edges and setting the over edge matrix to cap and the under edge matrix to alphabetic, text will be visually centered. So for example, we can try different pieces. So this is a system UI or any font we can pick. Let's say we pick this one. Now this is a cap and this is alphabetic. So if we say edge trim start, okay, trim over at cap, right, trim start or trim none. So there is no trimming, and now we say trim start is trim. Now we say trim both, so both side is trim and there is a cap and there is alphabetic. Trim under at alphabetic text should be capped, and trim over at text, let's say. Okay, this is interesting. And when we say X and when we say cap and leading, so I guess this should be cap and this should be text. And now we can decide how do we want to center it. So we can basically have a complete control. So we say text box, let's say trim both, cap, alphabetic. So what are these different features? Trim property specifies the sides to trim above or below or both. Which sides to trim? So when we are saying trim end, it is trimming, and when we are saying trim both, it is trimming both the side. When we say trim start, it's there. When we say none, so there is no trimming on this and there is no trimming below, but I'm not able to get trim both. So if you see trim both, there is some space on the bottom somehow. So with if we say trim start, there is always a space on bottom. So this is interesting. And alphabetic and property and text box edge property specifies the matrix to use for text box trim effects. When trimming both edges and setting the over edge matrix to cap and the under edge matrix to alphabetic. Over edge matrix to cap and under edge matrix to text will be visually centered. So under edge, let's say alphabetic, and over, let's say cap. If we do this, it would feel like centered. That is what they are saying. Yes, it looks centered this way, and this is not alphabetic cap, alphabetic and cap. This is interesting feature. At least they are giving you a fine grained control, and you can play with it and you can decide which one to use. Next is shape function, CSS function for complex or responsive shapes. So the new shape function lets you clip an elements to a complex non-polygonal responsive shape in CSS. This is a great option for clipping masks using clip path and works seamlessly with CSS custom properties to define coordinates and control point, making it more maintainable than SVG shapes. So works seamlessly with CSS custom properties to define coordinates and control points, making it more maintainable than SVG shape. This so means you can animate your custom properties within shape to create dynamic and interactive clipping. So if this is the shape, we can, this is how to create a flag shape with a curved top and bottom edge using a shape. So there is a flag and there is clip path. If you specify a shape, there are different parts to it, 1 2 3 and 4 and close, right? So from 0% to 20%, let's say curve curve to 100% and then 20% with this v line to calc this curve to this. In this example, the horizontal coordinates are percentage to scale with elements width. Horizontal coordinates are percentage to scale with the elements width, while the vertical coordinates for the curve height use fixed pixel values, creating a responsive head where the flag wave remain constant regardless of the element size. Another example, using a blob generator for shape to create a fun frame effect. So we can try this as well, and with this we should be able to create shapes. So we can define this, we can define depth as well, and we can define rotation, and we can generate shapes, right? Interesting. So we have a shape as well. If statement, we have already covered this in one of the video, but we can cover it again here, given we are going through as a group. So if statement is supported in Chromium browsers only, not supported in Mozilla or Safari, and you can specify condition if, else if similar to if, and then else block can be specified with the else colon. There is a if, and then all of them are if colon, else if colon, and else colon, something like this, right? And this can be used with 3 different types of queries: media, supports, and styles. For example, if we have a responsive layout and we have a display flex, we have a flex direction which depends based on the orientation. If so, you can say media orientation landscape. This would give you a condition if it is a true or false. If it's true, then a row, else it would give you a column. The approach is more concise, so if you do this, you would be able to get this. So here, like you can go through the code to understand this. There is a monster card, there is a monster card image, then there is a HTML, and this is a support node, and there is a support to show if the support node should be false displayed or not. And if you see flex direction, this is the interesting piece. Here media orientation is landscape, then row, else column, and this is the interesting piece. And they have managed the support node here in CSS by putting it none if it is supported. So here it is supported, that is the reason it's not visible, otherwise it would have been visible. Next we have a custom functions, reusable functions for cleaner maintainable styles. Okay, CSS custom functions are fantastic. If we see the support for it, it's a Chromium based support, not yet supported with Mozilla and Safari. It would be interesting to see if the supports are given in 2026 at least, or if not, then maybe only Chrome team is pushing for this feature, because these features are mostly supported in Chrome but not yet supported in major other browsers like Mozilla and Safari. So let's get going with this. CSS custom functions are fantastic new additions to CSS language and make it much easier to write composable, reusable, and clear functional style in logic. A custom function is made up of a function statement, a function name prefixed with a double dash, a series of argument, and a result block. So if we see @ function, and this is double hash, double dash basically, and this is the function name, and it can have a series of argument, and then it could have a result which is calculated here. So an example of CSS function is the negate function, which returns the inverse value of a number. So this is the value, so you multiply it with 1 and you result return it. So if you see gap of this, and gap is 1 em, and you use negate, you would be able to do this. So this is interesting. You would be able to use functions in CSS as well. There are many ways you can use functions in CSS. Ultimately, we will likely see new patterns emerge. For example, you might store CSS utility in utils.css file that contains multiple functions. One of my favorite CSS function is conditionally rounded border radius. The following function removes the element's border radius when it gets with a specified distance of the viewport edge. removes an element's border radius when it gets with a space, okay, defaulting to 4 pixel. Otherwise, applying to desired radius, you can provide one argument for the radius or second to override the edge distance. So if we say this is interesting. So you can put conditionals, you can create a function. So here is a function. So this is a conditional radius which takes radius and edge distance and fall back to 4 pixel, and here is a result. So there is a clamp they have applied which takes 0 and some calculation, and then this, so it clamps in between this, I guess. And border radius, you can apply this and you can apply this. If you don't pass this, it would default to 4 pixel. So it's interesting. Looks like they are going to remove post CSS. Post CSS already provides this sort of functionalities. Now they are trying to introduce them in CSS itself. So that's interesting. Next let's take a look at expanded range syntax. Range syntax in style queries and if statements. So this is again supported in Chromium based browser again, and Mozilla and Safari is yet to support. One nice update that landed this year is the ability to use range syntax in style queries and if statement. Media queries and container queries already supported this capability, but before Chrome 142, style queries required an exact value match. Like if you would say @container and you say style my value true, okay, now you can type your value and use them with the comparison operator like less than, greater than, less than equals to, greater than equals to. This enables many new architectural capabilities be directly in your CSS. The following demo uses styled cards to visualize the daily weather. The HTML markup include data such as the chance of rain, which is indicated by the value of data in %. So if we say this is the list, it is a class container and it has a style which says cloudy true and data rain percentage which is 60%. And then there is a weather card which says H2 today's weather chance of rain is 60%. In CSS, convert data rain % into a custom property, okay, give it a type using attribute. So if you see attribute data rain %, type is percentage. So this is the rain percentage we have calculated, which is within card container, and container name, let's say we have applied is weather, okay, and we apply @container and then style, container name is weather, right, @container style rain %, if it is greater than 45%, okay, weather card should have a background of linear gradient 140° like this. So this is interesting. So they have expanded range syntax. So what are they doing? There is a rain percentage which they are differing from attribute functionality which we discussed earlier, and then they are assigning container name to container name weather to this, and then they are assigning they are using styles on container, which they said earlier could be style my val true, which could be standard, okay, and now you could use percentages and other, right. Earlier you could just say if it's true or not, if you could just equate it, right. Now if the chance of the rain is greater than 45, the card will get a blue background. Now if the chance of rain is greater than 45%, the background will be blue, okay, interesting. And this value can change, okay. Range queries can also be used in if statement now as well, meaning more concise phrasing for styles. For example, you can write the above code even more concisely using inline. So you can say weather card, and here you can say background if style rain percentage is greater than, then blue, else gray, right. So we can do this query in CSS itself. So let's see this in working condition. So let's check this in demo itself to better understand this. So let's close on JavaScript and CSS, and we'll see first card list. So there is a card container, and there is a card container, 3 card containers, I guess 4 card containers, right, and each card container has a cloudy true, 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 and sunny. So this one is sunny and these three are cloudy. And data rain percentage is 10% to 30%, 10%, and 60%. And if we see details of it, weather card is there, which is Thursday, February, high 52, 43, and features is alternate showers, right? So if we see in JavaScript first, in JavaScript they have support container, which is again, I guess this feature was released earlier. So earlier they were using user agent driven this, and now they are utilizing support to check if the support is provided or not. So we can close this, and with this we should be able to come here in CSS. So there is a card container, let's say it has name weather, and here we have figured out rain percentage, which is data rain percent, type percent, and container style. If cloud is true, then linear gradient, this is minus 60 degree, and this, so we add background like this if cloud is true. Okay, weather card, and after that we should have a content, this, I guess this one, which again has a background of this, and then weather at the container style, if it's sunny true, then background is linear gradient from this to this, and weather card is again of some color. And if we say cloud style, it's sunny true and style is cloudy true. If it's sunny true and cloudy true both, in that case weather card would be this, weather card would be this. And if we say container style is rain percentage is this, then weather card should have linear gradient of this as well, and weather card this. So we have mixed and matched, and I guess multiple things are assigned. So basically in simple terms, we would be able to put a conditional and check greater than, less than, and apply styles on top of it. So this is interesting as well. Let's get to stretch sizing keyword. Make an element fill its containing block regardless of the box sizing. Okay, the stretch keyword is a keyword for the use with the CSS sizing properties such as a width and height that lets element grow to exactly fill their containing block available space. It's similar to 100% except the resulting size is applied to margin box of the element instead of the box determined by box sizing. Okay, so if we say element height is stretch, using this keywords, let the element keep its margin while still being as large as possible. So this is the content, and this is the main, and this is the body, and this is the HTML. So if you see height is auto, that is fine, height is, so if we say height is auto, then this is the case. If we say height is 100 vh, then this is height is 100%, and auto are somewhat same. And if we say height is stretched, then what happens? Height auto and height is stretched. Okay, height is stretched. Demo to compare the behavior of height set to this. Stretch keyword is a keyword for use with the CSS sizing property that lets element grow to exactly fill their containing block available space. Okay, they can just push for available space, whereas this is trying to stretch it, and this is trying to, they are all trying to stretch the outer container, but this is trying to fit within the outer container itself. Interesting. So let's get to the last one, which is a corner shape. Corner shapes beyond rounded edge. So this here CSS gives us more control over the shape of our element with a new corner shape property. This experimental feature lets you customize the shape of the corner beyond the standard rounded corner available with a border radius. So you can create a variety of corner styles including round, bevel, notch, scoop, squirrel, and it is again supported in Chromium browsers only. It is yet to be supported by Mozilla and Safari. so we can check it here. So round, so we can try it here directly. So this is the round, and if we say scoop, round scoop, and then bevel, oh interesting, and then notch, and square, and square circle. So this is interesting. The property opens up a world of creative possibility, from flower like shapes to hexagonal grid, and even enabling a simple this features is small but mighty. You can even animate between different corner shapes for dynamic and engaging user interfaces, making this a great option for hover effect and interested. So if we see this, okay, top left pedal grid area is this, corner shape could be round scope, and border radius could be 50%. For even more control, you can use a super ellipse function to create any continuous curve, allowing for fine tuned and unique corner design. So that was all in this CSS Wrapped 2025, and let's check. We have checked this, and what is this super ellipse? This is supported in Chromium again. It's experimental feature. Define the curvature of ellipse used to specify the corner shapes. So we can specify different shapes, I guess. So so yeah, that was all in this. We have already covered other two parts of this CSS Wrap 2025 in other two video, and this covers all the three parts, which I guess if you have time you can go through them and practice them, or if you are not getting time you can just watch through this video and you could get a better understanding of what all features have come up. Thank you.